You are watching the live video stream of the Special Chronicles show. This is episode 325 with our guests Jack and Matt McCabe from EnterpriZe Media. And if you want to download and listen to the audio podcast, that will be up in a few weeks. You can go to specialchronicles.com/show. That's specialchronicles.com/show. And that information is at the bottom of this screen on this new software that we're using. Right down where I'm pointing. Just go there and you can get all the listen and subscription information. Use the hashtag Special Chronicles on the Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And here we go. So we will get the show going. So let me get rid of the, if I know how to do that. Oh, where are we gonna? There we go. And we'll get rid of this. So here we go. Oh, I didn't even put my name on there. People know that. Okay, here we go.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
You're listening to the Special Chronicles show, episode 325. This week on Special Chronicles, our guests are Jack and Matt McCabe from EnterpriZe Media, here to talk about inclusion in media, their company EnterpriZe Media, and their journey within the global movement of Special Olympics, coming up right now on SpecialChronicles.com. Podcasted since 2008. This is the show where we're broadcasting disability stories from an insider's perspective, and we are giving a voice to people with special needs. This is your weekly guide to finding joy, acceptance, and inclusion. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome back to the Special Chronicles show. My name is Daniel, and I am your host and founder of Special Chronicles. It was so good to be back behind the mic. We are taping this near the end of 2018, but for those of you listening to the audio podcast, you are listening to this us in the new year of 2019, but we're also streaming this on our Facebook live stream, and so excited to welcome our guests that we got connected through email/Twitter, a long story, but we have we have on the show today's guests, Matt. Let me backtrack that so we can do from left to right. Our guests today on the show are Jack and Matt McCabe. Jack and Matt are 17-year-old twin brothers from Kansas. They are the co-founders and executive producers of EnterpriZe Media, which is a media company that employs people with special needs. And they're on the show today to talk about inclusion in media, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about and do. And also about how media companies like theirs are really leading the way within inclusion, within media, and their journey within Special Olympics, which is something else that we all share in common. So welcome to Special Chronicles, Jack and Matt.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
And so let's begin. I'm sure some of our listeners may have heard you guys before, or maybe have, like myself, had read a story that Matt, you wrote on the Special Olympics International Medium blog, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes for episode 325 on specialchronicles.com. And that's actually first time I found out about your story after the World Games 2017 in Austria, and so I reached out to some people that I know at Special Olympics and International, connected me with somebody from Special Olympics Kansas, and then we started talking on Twitter. And so, but for any new listeners, why don't you guys introduce yourself and tell us about yourself and your family and what disability, Jack, you were diagnosed with, and then Matt, tell us about when you both were born and who's older and younger.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and take it away, Jack.
Can we ask me a question first?
All right, so go ahead, bud.
Will you ask me a question?
He wants to know about you. So
yeah,
about kind of what disability you were diagnosed with and kind of your backstory.
My name is McCabe. I am 17 years old, and I have Down syndrome. I am a senior in high school. I am a manager for our boys basketball team. I am also in our marching band. When I am not at school, I volunteer at the library and run Enterprise Media. I was also an intern at Special Olympics Kansas.
And my name's Matt McCabe. I'm Jack's twin brother and also 17 years old. And I do not have a disability. I go to the same high school as Jack, and there I'm the co-executive producer of our award-winning broadcast program. And then outside of school, I work for a nonprofit computer camp called Youth Tech Inc., and I previously interned for Special Olympics Kansas for 3 years. And like Jack, I run EnterpriZe Media with them. As for Jack and I's story, we were born on March 31st, 2001 in Johnson County, Kansas. Jack is 2 minutes older than me, him having been born at 2:22 a.m. and me at 2:24 a.m. And because of this, Jack has seniority around the household, so he does not let me forget it.
Neat. So, what take us back to a little bit about when we'll get to a little bit more of the beginning of both of your backstories within Special Olympics, but let's first kind of take a listeners back to about a year and a half ago for the Special Olympics World Winter Games 2017 in Austria at the Global Youth Leadership Summit. I'm sure if our listeners have listened to our Unified Schools podcast series that we did last year, and we re-aired parts of it just a few months ago, so our listeners are a little bit familiar with the Global Youth Leadership Summit, but for those new listeners who are just tuning in right now on SpecialChronicles.com, can you guys tell us a little bit about what the Global Youth Leadership Summit is within the World Games of Special Olympics, and then go into talking a little bit about your project and the unified generation and why this is so important?
Yeah, sure thing.
The Youth Summit included youth leaders from all over the world to share ideas about inclusion. We met with business leaders about how to be leaders in inclusion.
And just like Jack said, the Youth Summit was an event in Austria at the 2017 Special Olympics World Winter Games in Austria that brought together youth from all over the world, from many different countries, with the sole purpose of bringing together this new unified generation and kind of championing this unified strategy that Special Olympics is taking with their unified programs with unified schools, and they've got a lot going on in that regards. And while we were there, to get there, we actually had to pitch a project to Special Olympics that would spread and seed social inclusion in our communities. And for Jack and I, our project was to start a multimedia production company employing people with intellectual disabilities, which, thanks to Special Olympics and the opportunities that we got at the summit, is now EnterpriZe Media.
Awesome. Well, as soon as I read about your story and was fascinated with not only your both of your project, but this company, because it's somewhat similar to what I and my small team, what we've been doing the past 10 years at Special Chronicles. So it's definitely something that's important, not just within our special needs community, not just within the Special Olympics community, but I think within our mainstream community. So
definitely,
we're kind of going off script a little bit, but maybe before we get into a little bit more about your company, maybe talk a little bit about why do you both feel that inclusion within media companies and inclusion within media overall is so important in our society today?
Yeah, well, for me, the whole idea kind of just started because when Jack and I were both in middle school, I participated in our broadcast program there too, and we were short-staffed and had very low interest, and so I brought in Jack one time to help out, and he was a natural at it, and it just kind of struck me one time that, hey, people with intellectual disabilities can definitely pitch in the media field, because, there Jack was setting up a tripod, putting a camera on it, he was running an audio switchboard, it was that, and then that I realized, okay, maybe this is something worth exploring a little further. So, like I said, when the summit came around and they were asking for project proposals and ideas about how to spread inclusion, we thought to ourselves, that this is the way to do it. This is the way to go. And, ever since I've really believed that providing more employment opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities is very, very important, especially in today's society, and that giving people with intellectual disabilities jobs in media is an accessible way to do it, because anyone can be creative, anyone can have a great idea, anyone can have a brilliant idea, anyone can run a podcast, talk about what they want to talk about, anyone can have an opinion. And at the base, that's what creative services are. It's just having an opinion, having a thought, having an idea, and then running with it and developing it. It's not rocket science. It's not physics. It's not math. It's, being creative. And so that's what kind of started to get the ball rolling for us, is that this is a great opportunity for people of all abilities to really pitch in and get on the ground floor.
Absolutely. Just a quick behind the scenes note, if Jack, if you guys can try to move a little bit closer together, because you're a little bit off.
Yeah,
just slightly. Yeah, I definitely agree with you both. That's perfect.
Okay.
So, I definitely agree with your company and project. So let's move on, and once again, I'd like to remind our listeners that our guests today on the program are Jack and his brother Matt McCabe. They are the co-founders of EnterpriZe Media, which employs people with special needs within their media company. And we are getting a question from one of our live viewers, and he wants to know. We'll get to that question in towards the end of the program, because it ties more kind of near the close, and so hopefully if you guys can remind me near the end of the program to get to any of those viewer questions, then we can do that near the end of the program. But Tell us a little bit about why you both wanted to start this media company, Enterprise Media.
Yeah. Do you want to tell him about why you wanted to start Enterprise Media?
Can I just do this first?
So he's asking you about why we wanted to start Enterprise Media. That's the question.
We wanted to create jobs for people with disabilities.
And in your opinion, why is creating jobs for people with disabilities so important?
Because they like to do wiggle stuff.
Yeah. One thing that we've noticed, and like I said, why we wanted to create Enterprise Media is not only because we believe people with disabilities can do it and can do the job, but people with disabilities are motivated to do the job too. It's not just that they have the ability to do it; it's that they want to do it. They want to be on the ground floor. They want to be included. It's that's what Special Olympics is all about. It's not a ginormous organization forcing people to be included. It's a bunch of athletes, self-advocating for themselves and saying, we want inclusion. We want to be included in sports teams. We want to be included in the workplace. We want to be included in the same opportunities that are available to everyone else. So this is, our effort to chip in on the media front of that because, there at the moment there's very little inclusion and diversity in the respective abilities in the media world. So this is kind of a unexplored avenue that Jack and I are going to head down and get opportunities for people in.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to follow your journey, and even though I'm up here in the Chicago area, and you guys are down in the Kansas City area, I believe.
Yes, yeah. We're based out of Kansas City.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure in the future there might be ways of how both of our companies can work together in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As we stay in touch. Can you guys tell us a little bit about in preparing for our time together today? I was looking around your website and your Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and your Kickstarter that we'll get to near the end of the program. But can you tell us a little bit about the key features of your company and why each of these are important when it comes to the creativity and passion and the energy?
Yeah, definitely. Jack, you want to tell them about our creativity?
Creativity is important for our company. People, especially, are very creative. That makes our videos better.
And that's why we find the creativity feature important. As for passion, that kind of piggybacks off of what I said about people with disabilities being motivated. People with special needs are sometimes used to being kind of underlooked, not given the same opportunities as people without disabilities. And because that, they have a very vested interest in doing a good job when given the opportunity, when they're employed, and in producing a good product when they're hired by clients. They want to do their very best, and because of that, there's a unique level of passion that arises when you have a company that has a staff of people with intellectual disabilities. And then for our last characteristic of our company, energy. Jack, do you want to talk about energy, bud?
Being a part of the unified generation is a big deal. Matt and I want to lead change. We will put a lot of energy into our work.
Yeah, so just like Jack said, energy, and that kind of bounces off the passion idea too, that, people with disabilities are energetic, they have the energy to get the work done. being excited about not only spreading inclusion, but on a functional level too for our company, producing good media content for our clients that hire us. So, we're hitting two balls out of the ballpark in that regards.
Awesome. And it's amazing that you guys are doing this at such a young age. I know when I was your age back in high school, I produced some media, but Wadey didn't have, I think, a lot of the equipment that we have today when it comes to a lot of microphones and cameras. Before, I think we were recording on like these small little tapes, but now we've got like these SD cards and a lot more. Do you guys find it both easy or difficult to operate a lot of the equipment, Jack?
Jack, do you want to talk about how easy it is for you to use the broadcast cameras that we use? Think about the ones that you use in your broadcast class too.
What do you mean?
Like, what do you think about using cameras when you're shooting? Like, think about the work that we did for Hallmark and what you do in class at school in your broadcast class.
We do a lot of videos in class.
At school, he takes a broadcast class at school. And what about the cameras that you use? What do you think about the cameras that you use?
We use school cameras to from every event and everything that's going on around the school.
Yeah, Jack just finished taking the broadcast class at our school, so he got some brand new hands-on training, and our finals just wrapped up this week actually. So this was the last week of Jack's broadcast class. So and they produced a mini show, which was nice. But outside of school, Jack and I have had a number of clients already that we've worked for. We worked on 2 political campaigns this past midterm season for 2 candidates who ran for state house, and we did some photography work for them and some videography work.
One was Chris Hallmark.
Yeah, one was named Chris Hallmark, who himself was actually deaf, so he was a disability-centered candidate. And then the other one was Michelle Lobitz, and they were running for Kansas State House on separate tickets, that was. And we've also done some work for Special Olympics Kansas, which is what our kind of initial project was through the summit. It was to produce a video for Special Olympics Kansas and their unified sports program. And then we've also done work for a local business called Emma's Place that was a child daycare service for kids with special needs.
Awesome.
That's actually my job, not my job.
Yeah, Jack actually also works there part-time too, so.
Awesome.
I didn't do part-time. It was a full-time.
It was full-time during the summer, yeah.
Neat. And the people can watch a lot of these videos that you guys have done for your clients on your website. We'll get to those social media plugs at the end, but just in the just so we can briefly mention it now, it's EnterprizeMedia.com. Is that? Correct?
Yep. EnterprizeMedia.com, and it's Enterprise with a Z.
Awesome. And I just put that link down on. If people are watching the video edition of this, they can look down right below you guys, right kind of next to where your microphone is. They can, if Jack wants to point down, they can look at
point down right there, bud.
Point down. Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, right there. So people can look at your website if they, and if you listen to the audio podcast, you can find it on SpecialChronicles.com. So I put that link right below as well. And,
okay.
So the question kind of going off script just slightly because sometimes
you're good.
Sometimes that's how conversations go.
It happens,
but
yeah.
The title, I should say the name of your company, Enterprise Media. Can you guys comment on how you came up with that name? Because it's a neat name that kind of ties with inclusive. So
Yeah.
kind of comment on both the name of your company as well as your logo. How you guys came up with both of those.
Yeah. So the Enterprise name came about because, when we originally put our project together and we took it to Austria, we figured out that what we're really doing is we have a social enterprise going. And so a social enterprise is a business that gives back to a part of the community through its business dealings, essentially. So by being a business that employs people with intellectual disabilities, we're giving back to that same community by giving them jobs. And so because we're a social enterprise, we kind of gathered the name Enterprise, but instead of spelling it with an S, like it is in the phrase social enterprise, we spell it with a Z, and we capitalize that Z and have everything else lowercase because we want to emphasize, A, the fact that it is a Z, but B, that if you look at the second part of the word enterprise, it's prize because it's where everybody wins. When you employ someone with a disability, everybody wins. It's like a prize. It's like a prize for society. We're being more inclusive. Everybody wins. Our clients win. They're getting high grade, products. Our employees win. They're getting jobs. And overall, as a society, everybody wins because we're becoming more inclusive and more tolerant of people of all abilities.
Neat. And the can you comment a little bit on the logo? How did you guys come up with your logo with I believe it's like a triangle on its side? If people are watching the live video edition, they can see the logo right above your heads in the upper right corner of the video.
Yes. So the kind of the playhead, it's basically just a kind of like a play button, and the colors represent the creativity, the passion, the energy of our company. So like I said, the yellow, the blue, and the greens, the creativity, the passion, and the energy of our company. It's kind of our three pillars essentially, and then. The same goes for the line below the enterprise and the media and over the I too. So, but like I said, it's a play button that emphasizes our three kind of core values that really drive our company.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure you guys you guys have learned a ton just by being part of the Global Youth Leadership Summit and with your clients already. But I'm sure you guys are gonna keep evolving and taking the new things that you guys are learning post high school and incorporated into your company. And it's an awesome jump start that you guys had that I and a lot of other people didn't have when we were high school seniors, that you guys were already creating your own jobs and creating jobs for others as well. So an awesome job that I'll definitely be recommending to all our listeners and viewers to definitely go check out your Enterprise Media and hopefully book you guys to produce some sort of media for their project. We'll one of the things we're trying to do at Special Chronicles is launch this Full Circle Inclusion video series next year. We already put up a little intro on what Full Circle Inclusion is, which is the right inability to make our dreams come true. But maybe that's something that we can talk about off there. Maybe that's something that you guys might be able to help us.
Yeah, definitely. We're always down for a new opportunity.
But that'll be for an off-air discussion. So,
right.
as you know, one of the new themes or the new messages that Special Olympics International and I'm sure a lot of the other state programs Definitely, I know here in Illinois that we'll be doing this next year, but the next, I believe, 5 years, Special Olympics International has a choose to include. So I'm sure you and a lot of our listeners have probably seen the hashtag choose to include, which let me put that on the screen. If I find it on my overlays here. There we go. Let me put the, here we go. Oh, I had it somewhere. There we go. So that is.
Well, I'll go ahead and have Jack kind of answer and explain what it means for him. If you want to explain, Bud, what it means to choose to include.
I choose to include by inviting everyone into our lives and school and work.
Well put, dude. Good job.
Awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't even say it better myself. Another seniority twin thing at work here. He always gets the words better. He's older, he's wiser, you know.
Awesome.
2 minutes really makes a difference in that sense.
Yeah. Can you guys say that again, Jack, just so our listeners can hear that again, because that was really powerful on why you guys choose to.
Say it one more time.
I choose to include by inviting everyone into our lives, school, and work.
Awesome. We'll make sure to tweet out that quote after the program today, because it's definitely something people will want to definitely hear from you, Jack. That's awesome. So did you want to add anything to that, Matt, or just echo what?
I think that's just a great phrase, just exactly the way that Jack put it, and I like that he emphasizes everyone into our lives, school, and work, because I think that every facet of your life that you can spread inclusion to is worth spreading inclusion to. I don't think that that we should limit inclusion. I think that everywhere that it can exist is where it will thrive. So both school, work, worship, fun and socialization, in every sense of the definition of inclusion, it should really live everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely, and it ties in with the inclusion revolution and really why all of our listeners and viewers should really follow our leads, follow what Jack, you and your brother Matt are doing with EnterpriZe Media, follow what we're doing at Special Chronicles, and follow what the global movement of Special Olympics is doing as well, with really not leaving anybody behind. Because as I'm sure you guys still see, whether you watch media on Netflix or you read stories in whether it's in the Washington Post or whatever media outlet that's out there, there's still exclusion. So by more people following our leads, following the unified generation, and really choosing to include. So that's a perfect note. We're going to go ahead and just take a quick break with this Inclusion Revolution PSA, and as well as a break to just briefly mention our sponsors. And you are listening to the Special Chronicles show. Our guests are Jack and his brother Matt McCabe, co-founders of EnterpriZe Media. We'll don't go away, because we'll be back right after this quick break, right here on SpecialChronicles.com.
We are not just athletes. We are ambassadors of uprising, peaceful protesters
in a rebellion against anyone who has a fear of difference.
Our demands are equality,
dignity, and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop or accept anything less.
We are deserving when we compete.
We are fighting for a more inclusive world.
We are the champions on the field and for this cause.
Today, our world is more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution is inclusion.
The revolution is inclusion.
The revolution is inclusion.
And it's not optional. The only choice you need to make
is how you will join it.
Is how you will join it.
Is how you will join it.
Revolution is inclusion!
You are the stars, and the world is watching you. By your presence, you send a message to every village, every city, every nation. A message of hope, a message of victory. The days of separation and segregation are over.
Join us and sign the Inclusion Pledge today at jointherevolution.org. That's jointherevolution.org. And we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. First, I would like to thank the Jenny and PJ Fortner Foundation, big supporters, not just of Antonio's Celebration Gala that we had last month, but really big supporters of Special Olympics and really big supporters of Special Chronicles, and really they understand the importance of choosing to include, as well as Goldman Sachs, which is a financial institution, and what Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And this episode 325 is brought to you by listeners like you. Please join our supporters and help us at Special Chronicles with your tax-deductible donation today to help us continue our mission of giving respect and voice to people with special needs, like Jack and myself, and Ed and Matt in there, and so many others of how we are creating inclusive programs. If you want to help us to make programs like this, as well as future programs, audio and video and stories and public speaking and all that possible, we would be grateful if you can donate at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. And we thank you for your generous support of the Special Chronicles. And
you're listening to the Special Chronicles podcast. And here is your host.
This is Daniel. Welcome back. It's Daniel, host and founder of Special Chronicles. Our guest today on the program are Jack and his brother Matt McCabe, co-founders of EnterpriZe Media. They are here talking about their company, EnterpriZe Media, and really how they are bringing about inclusion within media, and how you got and shortly a little bit about the journey within Special Olympics. And really, I hope that all of you guys who are either listening to us right now on podcasts or on specialchronicles.com/listen, or maybe you guys are watching our live video stream right now. Hopefully you guys are already learning a ton. Before that break, we ended the first half of the program with an excellent explanation from Jack about why they choose to include. But let's move on and talk a little bit about how do you both produce media within your social enterprise. Talk a little. You mentioned with some of your clients with some of the videography and photography, but maybe talk a little bit about how you both produce the media that you produce.
Yeah, Jack, you want to take that away? Talk about how you know how to make videos.
I have a lot more experience than me, but I have taken a class and learned from Mount.
So to kind of sum up what Jack said, like I said, we're both seniors in high school, and he just finished up his broadcast class, so he just had a nice long semester of learning with that. But a lot of that's just I've kind of taught Jack over the years as I've picked things up, which is exactly how we want Enterprise Media to work. Because the idea is, if you think about sort of like an editing bay for like a video production company, you have the actual editor and you have the editing producer. So the editor is working, actually at the keyboard, making the cuts, putting stuff on the cutting room floor, doing the technical side of things. And the editing producer there is just sitting there saying what to do, just making judgments and basically having an opinion, which if you remember earlier in the podcast, I talked about how anyone can have an opinion, disability or not. Anyone can have a creative, vision, and make choices of their own free will. And so our idea for Enterprise is that, and just like how Jack learned, is that people that we employ with disabilities are just going to work side by side, people without disabilities like me, to learn on the job as they go their training. And, through that, we hope to educate people with intellectual disabilities too, in the field of media, how to use cameras, how to run, AV equipment, how to kind of strategically market videos, how to, digitize content. So that's how we're kind of approaching the learning curve there.
Neat. And so I know a big part of your company is to employ people with disabilities, that's something that we would like to do in the future as well at Chronicles. But you also train in training other people with disabilities to learn how to operate the cameras and the equipment and other than what message, if there's anybody at either CBS or ABC or CNN or any or even any other production company who might be listening or watching our program right now, what message can you both give to them about the skills that you're given to people with or without disabilities within your company?
I would just, tell them and encourage them to tap into people with special needs as a talent pool for their own companies, and there's a lot of companies out there who are doing great jobs of employing plentiful amounts of people with intellectual disabilities in their business, and that's great and everything, and that's good progress, and that's definitely, years of progress and improvement that we've made. But as for working in creative services itself, there hasn't been much work done. So, and I can't speak to the specifics of any major media companies, but, say, people with intellectual disabilities were working for like NBC or ABC or a company like that. Right now, statistics are that they're, mainly working, kind of in, administrative tasks, kind of answering phones, writing things down, working in mail, kind of doing stuff along those lines, and certainly nothing wrong with that. And, there's plenty of people who enjoy that line of work. But as I said earlier and talked about opportunity, we do want to open the door for anyone with disabilities if they'd like to jump into the creative side and actually producing that content and making the decisions as to, what goes into an ad campaign, what goes into producing a video, to bring them to that table as well. So like I said, whereas there's a lot of good work being done by media companies to employ people with disabilities, in administrative stuff and working in office. That's great and everything. There just isn't that same focus in actually bringing them into the creative fold of that same company.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jonathan Murray and his production company who created the show Born This Way and the special Deaf Out Loud, who has been a guest on this program actually 2 times this year, and they also, just like you guys, actually employ a couple people, not just in front of the cameras, but also behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's one example. But yeah, really, like with more companies kind of doing with what you guys are starting to do, I think will make a big difference and really change attitudes and change perspectives. Because something I taped a show a month ago in the car with my mom. We were driving home from Iowa, and she talked about that inclusion leads to acceptance, and I think that's what you guys are showing people when it comes to inclusion. You guys are showing people how to accept those differences and abilities. So, when it comes to the social enterprise, do you guys want to be a charity like Special Olympics, and there's so many of these movements that are charities, but do you guys want to kind of get away from thinking of your company as a charity and it being in more companies like you guys and Special Chronicles as not just a charity, but a company where we're actually producing this content?
Right. Yeah. The end goal, and as we move into 2019 here, we're going to start the process of incorporating ourselves as a nonprofit. So for Enterprise Media, at the very least, the goal is to become a charity of sorts. But the idea is not to run off of donations for all of our operational support. We do intend to be a fully functioning media production company, and we do intend to work for real clients and produce real ad campaigns that people are paying to use. But at the same time, like I said, we might speak about this later on in the program too. We're running a humongous crowdfunding campaign right now because we can't actually get to the dream of being a fully functioning, marketing agency until we have the money to do so. So to help us out in that regards, and to always ensure that we are in a position where we can employ people with disabilities, the plan is to become a nonprofit. So, but like I said though, as we're operating, we want to work with real clients, who are going to pay us, a fair market price for our services, because, quite frankly, the people that we employ with special needs, they are doing the real work. They're going to do, real jobs. They're going to provide real services. And they're going to learn, on the job as they go, how to really, run a camera, how to shoot, how to edit, how to produce, how to color correct. And, that's just the whole, 2020 vision for Enterprise Media.
Awesome. Well, we'll put links up again for your website, but if people check out your website, EnterprizeMedia.com, they can see some excellent examples of the work that you guys have already done. Is any of the political work that you guys did for, I believe you mentioned for a client a candidate who was deaf, is any of that available for people to watch? Or?
Yeah, the one video that we produced for Chris Hallmark is available on our website. Our work for Michelle Lobitz is not on our website at the moment, but if anyone is interested in viewing that, just they're more than welcome to reach out to us via Facebook or any social media, or just shoot us an email, and we'll be more than glad to share any of the content that we've produced in the past. So
awesome. And I'm putting your social media handles, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at EnterpriZe Media, down right below Jack there. People can see, point right below there, they can see your handle. So let's move on, and what's our guest today on the Special Chronicles program are Jack and his brother Matt McCabe, co-founders of EnterpriZe Media, talking about inclusion in media and the company, and shortly in a little bit more about their backstory within Special Olympics and their journey within that movement as well. But really, I believe you guys are already starting a movement yourselves within your media company, and really something that I think more people will want to join in with what you both are doing. Tell us a little bit about your team. Maybe Matt, you could tell us a little bit about Jack, and then Jack, maybe you could tell us a little bit about Matt, and then maybe both of you guys can tell us a little bit about your parents' role within your company, EnterpriZe Media.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a little bit about Jack. Obviously I have just a huge amount of respect for Jack, both as my brother and as my colleague. There's no one more deserving of both those titles. He's incredibly intelligent and very smart, and he's very sensible, and he always motivates me to keep going, especially as we are making more business decisions as of lately, as our company keeps growing. We've just been growing exponentially by leaps and bounds after the summit. So Jack's always kind of that voice of reason in that regards, and motivates me, keeps me going. And just like I said about how people with disabilities bring a lot of creativity to the table, that's kind of what Jack does, because even though I've been working with, shooting stuff kind of on a freelance basis for a long time, having Jack as my partner now and having him work with me on our ad campaigns for those political campaigns and for Special Olympics Kansas, it just really brought a new perspective to the ad campaigns that I wouldn't have had if I were just working by myself. You want to talk about your answer, bud?
Matt is my twin brother, and we are very close. Matt does a lot of things. He was an student counselor. He does broadcasts. He works at a computer camp. He's really funny.
Neat.
I'm funny.
Neat.
But yeah, and you want to talk about our parents, dude?
Yeah. Our parents are always there for us. They love and support us all the time.
Yeah, we're very, very grateful for our parents. They've been there for us, the whole ride, especially with Austria and planning for that, and ever since with, getting donations from people and just, kind of supporting what started off as a crazy idea from two 15-year-olds, and is now a functioning business. So, and our mom has a background in broadcast journalism, so she's been a big supporter in the.
And our dad has his master's degree in mathematics.
Yeah, and our dad does a lot of project management, so between the two of them, they were able to offer us a lot of guidance on getting our first business together started. So, it's been an easy going ride with having them by our side. So
awesome. Well, it seems like that it's also a neat family business that you guys started.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fantastic, and something that more people can can learn from you guys and join your enterprise media company. So moving on, once again, our guest today on the Special Chronicles program are Matt and his brother Jack McCabe, co-founders of EnterpriZe Media. Maybe tell us a little bit about Matt, why you are passionate about this, in all caps, disability, being a disability advocate, and how you are interested in journalism and in broadcast journalism, and why you enjoy unified sports and what sports you play unified, and then Jack, maybe a little bit about, in addition, why you also enjoy broadcast journalism and unified sports, because that's something also that I, with a bachelor's degree in journalism, that I also am passionate about, in addition to you guys. But maybe share a little bit about why you both are so passionate, being an advocate and interested in journalism.
Yeah, well, I'll start off. For me, being a disability advocate, it's hard for me to even think of that sometimes, because I just think that everyone should be disability advocates, and I don't think it's anything special. I don't think it takes any extra work, I don't think that people have to think of themselves as disability advocates to be disability advocates, if that makes sense. Just be inclusive, and when you're inclusive, then all of a sudden, you're an advocate for everything, because that's what it boils down to. It's just one simple rule, be inclusive and be tolerant of people, don't shy away from differences, don't shy away from, things that make you feel different from others. That's what we need to embrace. That's what makes, companies like ours better, and lots of companies these days. It's a growing trend to hire people with disabilities, and just as is with most trends, we like to join in on it. We like to, kind of hop on that, bandwagon and ride that bandwagon into the future, because that's where the future is going, is hiring people with disabilities, and the future is everyone being a disability advocate. But as for why I'm one, I just have to owe it all up to Jack, just being his twin brother and spending my whole life with him. There was, probably just a long period, it took me a while, as you can imagine, for a young kid to understand, what an intellectual disability is and what Down syndrome is. So for the better part of my life, I always just saw Jack as Jack, and I still do, but especially during that time, I never thought of him as having a disability of any kind. I thought he was just my brother, and I loved him just the same.
Twin brother.
My twin brother. So, and there's something to be said about having a twin, because, it's, we can read each other's thoughts sometimes, and, just feel, for each other. We just, we can sympathize with each other, just like it's no problem at all. And that's why I'm a disability advocate, because I love Jack, and I want to see him succeed.
Neat, yeah.
And I also love Matt back too, as a twin brother, and I think my parents were with me with them and my older sister.
Neat. Yeah, well, awesome that you guys don't see disability within your twin by being twins and all. Another kind of interesting similarity between us. There was a lot of that's what I found there's so fascinating between reading and now talking and learning about both of your stories. There's a lot of similarities that we share in common, and my girlfriend Georgia, who I actually met through the athlete leadership programs within Special Olympics, she has Down syndrome like you, Jack. I'm holding up to our viewers a picture here and you guys can see as well. But her twin sister Kate doesn't have a disability like you, Matt, and so that's kind of
you just really nice in that picture.
What?
You look really nice in that picture.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's it's actually the biggest picture I have on my desk here, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, means you love her, right?
Yeah. So
yeah.
What's her name?
Georgia. Yeah. It's kind of weird with podcasts and people will either listen or watching this now or listen next month. But our Christmas special that we're recording this on December 21st. So next week on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you can listen to an hour and a half Christmas special that, well, listen or watch this Christmas special that Georgia was actually the first guest, the first co-host we had in studio. And we taped a Christmas special, an hour and a half Christmas special. And so you can look forward to listening or watching that program. So we opened gifts on air and had
pretty fun.
And she made cookies, and so pretty fun. So talk a little bit about your involvement within Special Olympics when it comes to unified sports, and Jack, what sports that you participate in, and I participate in swimming and basketball. But tell us a little bit about your journey.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll start.
Mm-hmm.
I love basketball the most. It's one of my favorite sports, and I've been playing it with Special Olympics since I was 8 years old.
And what did you do with unified sports?
I did a lot of sports in progress with Nan Cantor since I was 8. She's the one that arranged everything for lots of kids with disabilities to be a part with.
And what about unified sports, like through Southwest?
We got other kids with special needs, and without doing them outside of school. Them include me and my big twin brother Matt. We became my boy Rick Adam, but now and always tell us parents for send them to practice and stuff like that. So my mom's the coordinator to that, and my dad is the coach to that.
And what sports did you do through unified sports?
We do soccer, volleyball.
Volleyball. You didn't do volleyball, but you did soccer. What else did you do?
I did volleyball too.
Oh, through a camp, yeah. But through unified sports. So you did soccer.
Yeah, we did volleyball, soccer, basketball. I can hear
unified sports, the ones that you did through Southwest.
What about them? Track and field.
Okay. And then what about the bocce?
Yeah, we did bocce. Those are been and Julia almost did my sister was the coach to that. She knows, the days, times, where we go, stuff like that, and, she's quite a nice girl, I did a bunch of sports, since I was 8, or in my teens, yeah, and, I went to KU, for, this, special needs, thing with, players there, so I met, the K coach, Bill himself, and, just briefly, there when I was, with my mom and dad when I about, 2 or 8 years old, yeah.
Neat. And Matt, do you want to comment on your journey with Jack within?
Yeah, I started volunteering with Special Olympics just, when Jack turned 8, just like Jack said, and when he started playing, and
when I was the intern for that, I did something to do with technology thing, and I did day entry.
Yeah, and so
we there was what there back then.
Yeah, so kind of after I started volunteering at at our local Special Olympics program, we met Clint Armistead, who worked at the Special Olympics Kansas office for a number of years, and one year, it was probably when Jack and I were around 11 or 12, we were invited to the Special Olympics South Central Regional Conference in Oklahoma. That was in 2013, I believe, and
I'm not sure about that. I think it was about 10 or 12 years.
Okay, so anyhow, so we went to that conference, and out of that, Clint offered both of Jack and I internships at Special Olympics Kansas. So we interned at Special Olympics Kansas starting in 2013 or 2014. And like Jack said, he worked in data entry in the sports department, and I worked in web development on a web application for the Kansas Unified Sports League, and so we did that for 3 years, and Clint was also the one who led us to the opportunity with the Special Olympics World Winter Games Youth Summit, and he was actually our mentor for that and traveled with us to Austria. So he was.
I was with mom, dad. They went to.
Yeah, our mom and dad came to Austria too, but Clint was our mentor who came with us and was with us through the whole thing and came with our project and whatnot. So. Big shout out to Clint. He's, none of this, we would not be here. None of this would be possible if Clint hadn't took a chance on, 2 kids, many, many years ago. So.
Neat. Awesome. Well, just like you, I also, actually, when I was in college, I had a internship with my Special Olympics program as well, doing communications type stuff and editing videos, so kind of similar to what you guys have been doing with your Special Olympics program. So it's neat that a lot of, a few of the Special Olympics program will use Illinois and Kansas as 2 examples of really, being inclusive when it comes to their staff. So big shout outs to Special Olympics Kansas as well as Illinois. So moving on, because we could have it's getting late, and B we don't really have a time limit per se on the Facebook Live, but we do on the SD card. So we're gonna near the end of the program. But how is we'll kind of switch gears briefly as we come to a close back to your Enterprise Media Company. Once again, our guests today on the Special Chronicles program are Jack and his brother Matt McCabe, and you can text in your feedback to feedback@specialchronicles.com. Feedback@specialchronicles.com. That is right below both of our screens. You guys can text in any of that feedback as well, or post your comments on the Facebook live stream, and we'll get to that briefly at the end of the program. But how is your company, Enterprise Media, dedicated to being the bigger picture in our community and creating a world where everybody wins? You touched on a little bit with talking about your name and logo, but I saw that quote on your website, and it's a powerful statement that you guys are saying about your company. So maybe comment a little bit about how your company is dedicated to being this bigger picture within the community.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a little bit of a play on words, just because we're, a bigger picture. We're a company that makes videos and works in photography services too. But it talks about how the bigger picture is not our products itself. It's not the videos itself. I mean, that's a part of it. That's a part of the bigger picture, but that's not where it stops. That's where it starts. It starts with our product and it ends with our people, because our people is people with special needs, and it's our employees. It's the people who are going to benefit the most out of this, out of what we're doing here. They're the ones who are inevitably going to get the jobs and are going to find a place and a niche in society, because now they have a place to call their workplace. They have a place to go to and make money and contribute to, because, for too long, they have not had, many years ago, there virtually were no opportunities for people with disabilities to contribute to contribute their ideas to feel like they had a say, to feel like they were a part of a solution. And increasingly, it's starting to happen now. There's still very, very limited opportunities, but there are now, and it's just going to keep growing. And so we want to be a part of that growth, and so that's how Enterprise Media is the bigger picture for our community, where everybody wins, because we're going to be a part of that inclusion revolution.
Awesome. Well, definitely agree, and I'm sure our friend Tim Shriver, Chairman of Special Olympics, and everybody within the Special Olympics community, and I'm sure all of us at Special Chronicles believe that you guys are already leading as well leaders in the inclusion revolution, and people can go to jointherevolution.org to take that inclusion pledge and find out more about what we're talking about. With not just living the inclusion revolution, but really join us in that. So comment a little bit on the blog piece that Matt, you wrote on the Special Olympics International Medium blog, the Unified Workforce Inclusion Through Media, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes on specialchronicles.com. But maybe comment a little bit about on how you came to write this blog piece.
Yeah, well, it's really just a testament to the inclusion revolution, and not only the role that we each individually play in the inclusion revolution, but the role that Enterprise Media is going to play in the inclusion revolution as well, and just how Enterprise Media models the inclusion revolution, because it's easy. It's not easy per se, but it's anyone can be inclusive, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that anyone can get in on the ground floor and join this revolution. Now, this is not not everyone has to go out and start a podcast or start a media company. These are just examples of what you and I are doing to do our part. But anyone can take an idea. Anyone can just take themselves, go out into their community, and start being inclusive. Just in your classrooms, in your office, at your church, at your gym. All it takes is an introduction. Go meet somebody with special needs. Go talk to them. Introduce yourself. And that's what, like I said, that's what I talk about in the blog piece. Not in as much detail as specifics, but that's what we're talking about. Is we're talking about inclusion, and just finding it in whatever form it is, and however it manifests itself. Inclusion looks different for many, many different people, but for us, it looks like Enterprise Media. And so that's how we're going to spread the inclusion revolution.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely recommend that the folks, after they are listening or watching our program right now, go and read that piece. We'll put a link in the show notes on specialchronicles.com. But kind of tied with what you wrote about encouraging people, just anybody and everybody to include and be more inclusive. I wrote a piece for the International Day of People with Disabilities. People can find, I think it's still listed right now on specialolympics.org, that I believe, Matt, you read, and Jack, I'm sure you took a look at it as well, on really how people can help to advance more inclusion. I'm blinking on the title of that piece that I wrote, but it's, I think, how people can help to advance more inclusion. So kind of tying in with what you said, Matt. But really, if people read both those two pieces that we both wrote, then more people can really understand just how easy it is, and really hopefully follow our leads and see how easy it is to be inclusive. So you guys, with being a little bit younger than me by at least 10 years, not having that much hair, I can probably kind of show the age difference between the three of us. But you guys are part of the Unified Generation, and the hashtag that the Global Youth Leadership Summit they were used in was hashtag Generation Unified. So maybe comment a little bit on how people can, all of our listeners and viewers can join and follow you guys as a part of the Unified Generation.
How they can follow us?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, how they can follow the Unified Generation.
Oh, I gotcha. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about that, Jack?
Generation Unified teaches people to be inclusive in their daily lives.
Yeah, so just like Jack said, Generation Unified teaches people to be inclusive in their daily lives. And so, if people want to follow the Generation Unified, they just need to look for those acts of inclusion. It's just about being aware, just being conscious of those small acts of inclusion, and then joining it, and then all of a sudden you're part of the inclusion revolution. So we all are the Generation Unified. So anyone can be a part of that. Not just young people, really. I mean, young people are kind of leading the charge per se, and that's where inclusion is going to happen the most, especially in our schools. Our Unified Champion Schools programs they're doing great, and Unified Schools are a great resource to help spread that inclusion. But if you're looking to find where that Generation Unified is at, just look for small, simple acts of inclusion. It does, like I said, it doesn't have to be big things like Special Chronicles or Enterprise Media or the big Special Olympics movement. You don't have to go to the World Games to be a part of inclusion. It's just any small act of inclusion is Generation Unified. Every little aspect of inclusion counts.
Absolutely. So as we come to a close, you mentioned hopefully our listeners got a little bit backstory on your Enterprise Media, and we'll want to check you guys out a little bit more to find out more about you, and we'll put links in the show notes on specialchronicles.com on a live video. The links to both of our websites are all down below, but maybe comment and Jack, you and your brother Matt can tell us a little bit about your GoFundMe page that you guys have, and why you guys are doing this instead of having a Patreon or a PayPal fundraising. So tell us a little bit about that, and we'll put links in the show notes for episode 325 on specialchronicles.com to your GoFundMe page as well. But tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, well, we started a GoFundMe page to help start up our Enterprise Media Company. Currently, to date, we've raised about $3,000 of our $35,000 goal. So we still have quite a ways to go. We're really only about 7% done, I believe, so 7% funded. It's something. We're making progress, but we really still have a lot of work to go. We really do need donations, if anyone is interested in making donations, like Daniel said, you guys will post that on your show notes. But definitely, if people have questions about donating or about how money is being used for, we have a really great video that we made that's it's partly animated, and it shows exactly how every last dollar of that $35,000 is going to be spent, and that's on our GoFundMe page itself and also on our YouTube page. So if anyone is interested, they want to just learn about how that money is going to be spent before they donate, I completely understand that. I'm the same way. I don't want to just give money to a random campaign that I don't know anything about. And with that said, that's why we went with a GoFundMe instead of a PayPal or a Patreon. Whereas GoFundMe does not, you don't have to apply to start a campaign. They do monitor campaigns as they get more money. And so it's just kind of a thing to show our credibility. This is every last dollar that we raise is going to be used to create jobs for people with disabilities. So that's why unfortunately in this world our biggest struggle right now is getting the money to make this thing happen. Everything else is just a breeze. Special Olympics has been a huge help. Everything else we have the resources and the help for it. We just don't have enough money to make it happen right now. So, but we're very grateful to Special Olympics and the U.S. Department of Education and the Kim Samuel Foundation and Lions Club International. They awarded us with a $2,500 grant after our World Games project, which initially seeded our pilot project with Special Olympics Kansas and producing them a video. And like I said, to date we've raised $3,000 from our crowdfunding campaign and private donations. So, but that's our biggest hurdle right now is getting more donations. And after the new year, we do plan to, like I said earlier, incorporate into a nonprofit. So at that point, our donations will become tax deductible once we do become a nonprofit. So that's another reason to donate, of course. But just, if there is anyone out there, anyone listening that is interested in donating or just wants to help us find a solution to getting over that financial barrier, just reach out, because we definitely want to start providing jobs to people with disabilities as soon as possible.
Awesome. And yeah, we'll definitely put links to your GoFundMe page and yeah, definitely a helping to raise money and really. Some people, think that you might be competing against other nonprofits, but I think it's better we'll all work together for the same mission of inclusion,
right?
And find ways to work together, because it definitely is possible. Might take a while, but it's possible. So with that, being said, you guys want to share your social media plugs, and we'll put those links right below the video in just a moment for people to go check out. But how can our listeners and viewers connect with you on the social media, both for your Enterprise Media Company and for both of you individually as well?
Yeah, well, our website address is www.enterprizemedia.com, and Enterprise is spelled with a Z, not an S. So that's our website, and from our website you can get our social media pages as well. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Enterprise Media.
I'm not on Facebook.
Yeah, and then Jack and I are, we're both on Twitter. So my handle is Matt L. McCabe, and Jack's is JW McCabe. That's
McCabe.
Jack's handle is JWMCCAB. And then I'm also on Facebook as well, Matt McCabe.
It's MCCABE.
Uh-huh. And so people can feel free to connect with us on social media, and then if you go to our website, you can find emails for us as well. My personal email is matt@enterprizemedia.com, and Jack's is Jack W.
My name is J.W. McCabe at Enterprise Media .com.
And then we also have a general information email, info@enterprizemedia too, that you can send all marketing questions to, or if just general inquiries or questions about donations or about our GoFundMe campaign or even about using our services. So yeah, there's a wide variety of ways to get in contact.
Awesome. Well, I did, as I was talking about your social media, I put those handles at the bottom, but I now switched it back to the website, so enterprizemedia.com. On the video below, right below Jack, you and Matt, people can look at that, and we'll of course put links in the show notes on specialchronicles.com as well. If you guys are driving and listening to this program, don't actually write this down now, but we'll put links on specialchronicles.com for episode 325 to both of your personal Twitter handles, and I believe Special Olympic Kansas can be found at SO Kansas. Is that correct?
Yes, that's their hand. Yeah. That's what Kansas.
If you feel free to contact us. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. My number is on the card. Mine's 93972
We'll put that information in the show notes on specialchronicles.com for our listeners and viewers. And I did check out that video that you guys had for your GoFundMe, and it was fantastically produced. So definitely recommend that. Once again, I would recommend it to our viewers and listeners to go check out your GoFundMe page and your company, and hopefully our viewers will want to actually check out your company and want to book you guys to speak.
Yeah.
But on that note, before we get to the final thoughts, just briefly let me turn those off, and just to let our listeners know, if they want to text in your feedback, you can do so by texting to the address feedback@specialchronicles.com, feedback@specialchronicles.com, and those will show up on the iPad that we have in the studio. And on social media, you can find us at Special Chronicles on the Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And Twitter will actually at Special C Podcast because of the characters on there. But you can also use the hashtag Special Chronicles, which is button on the bottom, right below Jack, you, and Matt, right below you guys. If you want to point, you guys can see that at hashtag Special Chronicles, and you can use that as well. And you can leave your 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Facebook, and wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're driving, you can also use the Waze app that a lot of people use and connect it with Stitcher and actually listen to this program that way without leaving your navigation. So that's a nice little hint there for you. And on that note, let me put your social media handle there as well so people can check that out. But any final thoughts on your overall time here today on Special Chronicles that you want to share with? Oh wait, before we get that, we did have a comment from a listener, or a bunch of comments from people, but one I want to briefly get to. The question is, where do you see your company in the next 10 to 15 years? So if you want to briefly comment on that.
Where do you see our company in the next 10 to 15 years?
Oh.
Where do you see our company in the next 10 to 15 years?
With this?
No, just think of it. Where do you see our company in the next 10 to 15 years?
What do you mean?
Like, how many employees do you think we'll have? What type of clients do you think we'll be working for? Will we do any more work with Special Olympics?
Once we get the big building, get much more equipment, I will decide on that.
Yeah, so I think kind of what Jack's saying is that our next 10 to 15 years, it's very fluid. Things could definitely change a lot, and just kind of like I mentioned earlier, a lot hinges on our GoFundMe campaign right now. Obviously, we're very thankful to have $3,000 of our $35,000 raised so far, but to the viewers out there, just simply sharing our campaign too. It's not easy to sometimes donate, but just spreading the word, getting our company out there would just mean the world, and obviously greatly improve the chances that we are around in the next 10 to 15 years. But best case scenario, next 10 to 15 years, we would love to be employing just dozens of people with disabilities, because that is the end goal, is to just provide as many jobs as possible for people with intellectual disabilities.
Absolutely agree. And we have about just under 2 minutes left in the program today, so we're running short on time here. But any final thoughts on your overall time here today on Special Chronicles that you want to share with our listeners?
Thank you. We're gonna move on. Thank you for letting us tell your audience about our new company. We have a lot of friends with special needs who will do a good job for us. We still need equipment, so we would appreciate any donation amount. So thank you, and have a good Christmas holiday.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I'm sure we'll be in touch, and our listeners can find out more information in the show notes on specialchronicles.com to your EnterprizeMedia.com, and we'll get in touch. So it's been a joy having you on the show. I think we gave our listeners a great little snapshot into how you guys are really living inclusion and choosing to include. So thank you once again, and we're going to conclude with our call to action at the end, which is we member choose to include. So we'll say that all at the same time. And we'll be back next week with some more exciting programs. And until next week, we member choose to include.
Choose to include.
Choose to include.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yep. And we member choose to include.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
The audio recorder cut off right before I played that little outro ID. So, but I'm going to add that into post.
All
Thankfully for the live video, it didn't cut off. So, awesome. Before I click finish on the live video, do you guys want to say anything else to our viewers?
I mean, thank you to the people who watched live and to the people who, watched the recorded version on Facebook, thank you to them for being part of both Special Chronicles and EnterpriZe Media. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
And we want to give a special thank you to our audience for the influence watching us explain more about our business and campaign or company. We appreciate them for coming out and support us, and thank you, Daniel, for asking those questions.
Awesome, my pleasure. I'm glad we finally. I know it's a busy time with the holidays, but I'm sure and even coming off of our Tenniel Celebration Gala last month, I'm still catching up. I've got a bunch of sticky notes with a bunch of work that I'm trying to catch up on. So, but I'm glad we finally got it set up.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Daniel, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Let me click finish and end that broadcast.